Well, I'm not responding to her text message.
You said your niece is sending you angry emoji? Yeah. What is she asking for?
Responded to a message.
That she needs urgent.
It's just nothing. It's just if I didn't respond.
It's crazy, bro. These kids nowadays, man. What's good, everybody? I am LT, and this is
Awesome in the building.
And today's guest is Umair. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself, bro? You know, say give him a little something.
Very good friend of ours.
Very good friend of ours.
Nice to be here, everyone.
Appreciate you being here, man. It's an honor.
To be here.
Huh?
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, yeah, man. And for those of you that don't know, Umair is I don't want to say surgeon, but
he's a surgeon.
Because people think as soon as I say doctor, they're gonna go think surgeon, all this. Pharmacist,
there we go.
Pharmacist, there we go. You know what I'm saying? All that medicine you guys take, all that you know what I'm saying, stuff that makes you know what I'm saying, the vaccine to the healing to my Pepsid pills. I actually bought them today. You know what I'm saying? By the way, yeah. I bought my pills, so you could tell me what's the benefits of these, you know? We'll talk about them later, but in general, you know, he's the healer, you know? Umair, go ahead, man. Tell them a little bit about yourself and feel free to share as much as you need about, you know, Pharmacist.
Sure, man. I mean, where do I even start?
Hey, I mean, you know.
Let's start with you first. How about that?
So I guess let me tell you why I became a pharmacist or how that happened.
For sure.
So a little bit about myself. Growing up as a kid, you know, I had my grandfather. He would come to visit, and you know, he would stay a few nights. He'd kind of rotate. You know how the family has grandparents rotating from one child to another child's house,
right?
And so when it came time for my grandfather to stay at our house, like obviously I got to see everything that is involved in his life.
Yeah, mashallah.
Yeah, and you know, at that time, obviously he was, you know, an older man. He's probably in his 70s and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and I knew he had diabetes. Mm-hmm. Obviously, as a child, I didn't know like exactly what diabetes was, but then I would see him take like these injections, right?
Right.
You take these injections, get a needle, get a syringe, pull up some fluid, and then like actually inject him in the stomach.
Right. This is your grandfather.
This is my grandfather.
And how old were you?
So I was probably like 8, 9 years old, like seeing him do this for years.
Okay.
And like, you know, seeing him like grimace a little bit every time he did it too. So I knew that whatever he was doing wasn't something that made him feel good.
Right.
It was probably something that he had to do to keep himself alive.
Healthy, yeah.
But besides the diabetes, also just like seeing his like condition kind of like deteriorate, like where he's walking and then slowly he's requiring a walker. Just like seeing all of that happen, right? And then eventually he passed, right? So like he passed away. Yeah, thank you guys. But like, you know, like that whole process, like I remember like he used to love eating papaya. Like that was his favorite fruit, right?
Right.
And like and that's the reason why I love papayas.
Right.
Probably because of my grandpa. But like I would feed that to him like as a kid and stuff, and like he would also like kind of bruise easily. Like I remember I would play with like little cars, and like, you know, I would kind of roll the cars and he would be sitting in front of me, so like they would end up crashing into his leg.
Oh, so he'd easily be bruised by them.
Giving him bruises.
You were pissing him off.
I was, but he loved me. So but like, you know, like diabetics, they take longer to heal.
I didn't know that.
Wounds take longer to heal. So he can have bruising and it can last longer than the average person.
I didn't even know that.
So yeah, all of these things, like, you know, if you know, like that's why like controlling your blood sugar is very important. Because it's a whole process of like wound healing and like with an infection, all that is very important. Anyways, like all of this kind of like seeing this like firsthand, that made me want to like go into like something with healthcare.
Wow.
Right.
Nice.
Now, fast forward, becoming a teenager, getting into college, being from a brown family, you know, it's only normal for us or our parents to like I know you can relate.
100%. Listen, back in Sudan,
you know, doctor, lawyer, right?
Of course,
engineer.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, I mean, I'll do it if I like it, if I have the passion for it, right? I'm not going to do anything I don't like.
Makes sense.
So, that came down to like, okay, me trying to like see if I even like doing do I even like the work that needs to be put in for like to get any of these degrees or this education, because it's not a joke, right? Like it's a lot of work,
especially medicine and doctors,
a lot of time, right? Like a lot of dedication, sacrifice.
Agreed.
Like you got to go where you need to go for school. Yeah. So I mean, it happens, but like I guess everything happens. I ended up volunteering at a pharmacy at my local Rite Aid. Shout out to Rite Aid now.
Rite Aid. Rite Aid sponsorship coming soon.
Right.
They're struggling, by the way. But like,
never mind. We don't want it.
Sneak this.
So like, oh man, crazy story. Yeah. No joke. Uh-huh. I go to my local Rite Aid with my CV, right, like my resume in my hand, and I just walk up to the window, and I'm just like, hey, can I talk to your manager?
This was like college time, or
yeah, this is like 18 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So like I'm like, hey, I have my resume. Do you have any openings? Like I'm looking for some pharmacy experience.
Right.
The guy looks at my CV and he's like, yeah, you wanna work here?
That's crazy.
Wow. All right, come back on Monday. And he hired me like on the spot. And like that was my
You a go-getter, bro.
Official like clerk job in a pharmacy.
Wow. MashaAllah,
so
bro.
like I got that experience. I got in the door. That was the most important part.
Yeah.
And then I'm like in the door, I'm in the pharmacy, and then I'm like, okay, I see how he does his work. Because I started working with him.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, man, this is mad chill. And then I find out about like financially it's decent. Pay wise, the work doesn't seem so difficult. And the rest is history. Like
mashallah. Just that small decision you made just to go out and
that was it. Just getting that experience. Like I mean, and that's what I would recommend to anybody. Like, whatever you want to do in life, like get that experience. Like, you have to experience it before like blindly going into it.
Of course.
You gotta enjoy it too.
Enjoy it, of course.
Enjoying doing what you're doing. Yeah. Like, have the passion for it.
Absolutely. Looking back at it, it's like you and being a pharmacist now, it's like it was like meant to be in a way. How easy it was just for you. I don't know. I don't know if it's usually that easy, but I mean, he hired you on the spot.
Yeah, I mean that got me in the door, and that led me to one thing.
Subhanallah, bro. And we say Allah is the best of planners, but it's like even like His plan. Like if we see the creativity of it in terms of like how you did it, like if you go ahead and look back at each step, that was probably just one of the steps.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? And I know there's way more. So it's like there's a sequence of things happening just for you to get to the point now.
I do thank God.
Alhamdulillah.
Like, I'll tell you something real quick. So
go ahead.
When I got into my pharmacy school, all right, so check this out. So like getting into the school is grad school, right? So like getting into school, that itself was something extraordinary. Like I remember applying and finding out, okay, I'm probably not going to get in this year. I might as well apply next year.
Yeah. Did you apply late?
Check this out. No, I didn't. So everything was on time. So like I apply and I'm just like checking up with a school that I had already applied to, like checking back and being like, hey, I'm ready to apply again. Have you changed anything? Like requirements or anything? They get back to me and they're like, actually, send us your updated transcript or whatever. Like, let us take a look at it. I'm just wondering why she asked me that, but I said, okay, I'll go ahead and send it.
Yeah. Right.
She responds back. She's like, looks like you have everything done. How would you like to start school now instead of waiting next year? Because there's a spot that just opened up. So that happened, but she said you have to come for the interview.
Yeah. So there was an interview process before, but still, it's still a blessing.
Still, right? Like, I'm like, okay. I mean, she's asking me directly to come. There's only one spot left.
Spot left.
What are the chances? I go to Arkansas, right?
Okay.
Go figure. A boy from Cali going to Arkansas. But I did what I had to do. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. That was
especially for an opportunity.
Yeah. That was my sacrifice.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm not going to waste another year. So I go, bro, I handle the interview. After the interview, I end up like, it was a Friday. So Jummah.
Okay.
After the interview, I drive an hour because that's where the closest masjid was.
Mm-hmm. Dang,
I'm inside the masjid, bro. I'm inside the masjid, and I'm actually praying like a sunnah or something. My phone rings. Obviously, I can't answer it, but then I realize there's a voicemail. I listen to the voicemail once I finish my prayer. I go outside to listen to it. It's them saying, "Hey, call us back." Mm-hmm. I call back.
They don't say anything. They just said, "Call us back."
Call us back. I was like, okay, I'm gonna call you back.
Right.
I was like, goodbye hasn't started yet either. I was like, I'll call back. And then, bro, the best news ever. We would like to accept you. Congratulations.
Subhanallah.
Inside the masjid.
Wow. Literally.
Is that not signs or what?
I don't know, but man, your thing was a plan. Definitely that plan.
God's plan.
And this is in Arkansas, you said, right?
This was in Arkansas at the masjid. Right?
Okay.
And you came from Cali. So even speak about that. You're originally from Cali.
Born in Chicago, raised in Cali.
MashaAllah.
LA, Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So LA, baby, man.
You said you went to Arkansas for grad school, or was it? Or where'd you go before that?
So undergrad. So I did undergrad. So I got my bachelor's at University of California, Irvine.
Okay.
I went to UC Irvine for that. But just living in Cali, you know, I had to get out of that bubble. You know, I've always been that type of person to kind of like venture out and do my own thing. I don't like following crowds. I don't like doing things just because of trends. I like to do what I want to do and kind of be just independent. And kind of make my own path. And that's what I've always done, is like kind of make my own journey, my own path, not trying to follow one specific way to do a certain thing.
I feel that.
So that ended up, you know, leading to college, to grad school. Like, you know, I did it's called a PharmD, a doctor of pharmacy. And I was like, I might as well do my MBA. So I like kind of did that.
Went ahead with it.
I was just like, you know, and I love challenging myself. I don't know if you guys are the same way. Like, I love to challenge myself. And I thrive on that. Like when I feel like, oh man, this is impossible to do. Like I want to do it more. Right. So
I get that, man.
So like, I'm telling you, growing up, I thought these things were impossible. Like where I am today, I kid you not. I would have never expected to be here, like where I am today. Because I know I told you I'm a pharmacist, but like, you know, like I've also taught at a university, and that was, you know, I've also taught at a university, and that was in my experience living abroad in the Middle East. Like, I mean, never did I ever imagine that.
That's crazy.
Teaching lectures in English to like people of another country, right? So doing stuff like that, and then teaching students and training students and residents, which I'm doing here with like, University of Maryland. Besides my work, so like all these things, like I never thought I'd be able to do any of this stuff, but like, you know, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Everything happens for a reason. I'm here. I'm here with you guys. I'm happy.
Man.
It's like stepping out of your comfort zone, bro. It shows you like, it's like when you step out of your comfort zone, it's like you're challenging yourself. You discover new things about yourself. You don't know where it's going to take you, but you put your trust in God, but you do the work necessary to keep it. Like, it's like us. We didn't think we would do a podcast, right? We didn't think we would start a podcast. Now we started it. Now we don't. Let's see where it takes us. You know, so it's like challenging.
Let's go.
No, for real. Isn't it true? Like you gotta tie your camel. What's the saying? What's the saying? You gotta tie your camel, but
what do you say?
I'm not sure about.
It's something like that. Tie your camel and then trust in Allah.
Yes,
that's what it is.
That, So but it's do your job and let God do the rest.
And do the rest, exactly. But it was like, because it was like the story came from when the guy, right? If correct me if I'm wrong, or if you know, if you're familiar, but it was Prophet Muhammad. He was talking to the guy, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the guy was like, or he told him to tie his camel, and he said, "Why do I need to tie my camel? I trust God already."
Exactly.
And then the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him, tie your camel, and then you trust God. And so it's like the lesson. That's the lesson behind it.
It's like taking the vaccine.
Yeah.
Take the vaccine, right?
Hey,
do everything you need to do.
We're bringing that vaccine talk right back again, man. Oh man, vaccine.
We had a heavy debate earlier.
Yeah, we had a debate
nah.
about the vaccines and who thinks what of it, and
man.
you know, Rasim wants to get me to sound wrong in front of a pharmacist, you know. So,
but continue with the journey though to become a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Before
So
that.
I mean, you know, honestly, like just so it was, you know, my mother's passion to do something in healthcare, and pharmacy is something that I felt comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up liking. I go to pharmacy school.
okay,
I realized at pharmacy school, like, I don't want to sit in the Rite Aid all day.
right.
I want to be in a hospital setting,
Mm.
because that's where I feel like you make the most difference in real time. Like what I do today, I don't know. I mean, I can explain it, but like the satisfaction that I get is priceless.
Subhanallah.
Like, I'm telling you. And like doing it during like Ramadan and
Subhanallah.
like I got to do it, man. Man, when I was in Saudi, like I went to Hajj in 2015.
MashaAllah.
This is the year of the Stampede.
Oh, okay.
Remember the Stampede that happened?
Yeah.
So when that Stampede happened, and there were like maybe thousands of people that died and were seriously injured.
Yeah.
A lot of them ended up coming to the hospital that I was working at in Jeddah. So not only did I go to Hajj that year, but I ended up taking care of the patients that came back from Hajj and that ended up in like the ICU and that were really sick. Right? So like that satisfaction of like being able to do it and then taking care of patients, like, you know, like when patients get better, like I see patients, because, you know, I'm a ICU pharmacist.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Or like critical care. So like really sick patients, like, you know, they're on the brink of death, right? Like, and, you know, speaking of death, I've seen a lot of deaths, but like when people get better, that's the best feeling.
Yeah.
When they're like on the line of dying and slowly you kind of make them get better. You heal them every day. I'm not saying like it's just us. Like obviously God is there. Allah is there helping.
Of course.
Like we're doing our part, right? With medicine and doing whatever we can. I make recommendations. You know, we work as a team. I work with nurses and other doctors, and that's my job.
Exactly.
Working as a team and like seeing these patients, and that's just a priceless feeling. But like, you know, for me to get here, like it was an amazing journey. I have no regrets. Completely worth it. And I realized in pharmacy school that this is what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
And you know, I did whatever I had to do. Like I did some extra training after pharmacy school. I lived in Memphis for like a year for that.
Right.
So like I kind of lived
everywhere. Where else did you live besides?
And then after that, so then I kind of mentioned it, but I lived in Saudi.
Yeah, Saudi. Okay.
So I was there for like about 5 years. Got to live.
MashaAllah, bro. You've been all over, man.
Man, it was amazing.
Yeah, it is. The thing is, every location comes with its own experience.
Drinking Turkish coffee at work, man.
That's a vibe. That's a vibe.
Yeah. So, and then coming back to the East Coast now, and now obviously I'm a part of Johns Hopkins. And working here in Bethesda. And,
MashaAllah.
You know, alhamdulillah, you know, I'm thankful. You know,
and how long you been in the DMV for so far?
So now, crazy thing is, man, I came right before COVID hit.
Right before, wow.
So like December of 2019. I mean, talk about timing.
Oh wow.
Because I feel like if I didn't leave Saudi, I probably would have been stuck there.
Right.
You know, like it was no joke getting out of there when that thing started.
COVID started.
So I thought they were letting people leave, but it was just difficult to go there.
They were letting. Like, I mean, like think about it. Like when people were leaving, I felt like it was like a one-way leaving, kind of like
you ain't coming
like,
back.
You're not coming back anytime soon.
Right.
Like people were leaving because they were scared. Right. Like they're not leaving to go on vacation. They're like leaving because they're like, I need to get out of here.
Get out,
right.
Stranded,
So I mean, it was wild. I'm sure it would have been like very hectic and stuff. But so I came here December 2019, and already it's been 2.5 years.
Yeah. 2.5 years in the DMV, man.
From the LBC to the DMV.
So let the people know what you think about the DMV, man. I know DMV is a vibe. It's
you know what? It actually has grown on me.
Okay. See
the amount of halal food out here.
Let's go. Shout out Halal Wrist.
Everywhere.
Halal Wrist.
Restaurant. You know what I'm saying?
You know, my wife craves it every day.
Mashallah,
I'm
mashallah.
actually thinking about getting some today after this session.
Definitely.
But like, you know, like just like I enjoy the weather, the 4 seasons.
Oh yeah, Cali's not like that, right?
That, you know? Yeah, Cali's not like that. Saudi obviously was all desert. So like coming here, 4 seasons, the greenery, I love it.
Yeah.
Wife is based in DMV.
Oh yeah,
so that helps.
Mashallah.
Her family's
Mashallah.
here, so that helps. Just obviously, I mean, honestly, what else? Traveling purposes, going up and down the East Coast.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a nice location.
Yeah.
You can adapt.
Location-wise is dope.
Yeah.
DC is nice.
Yeah.
I love DC. Like going to it. Yeah, I admire the city.
Yeah.
It's a nice.
Yeah. Now you adapt, and then at the same time,
the people.
of course.
So far, people obviously, you know, like COVID kind of like put a hold on like my social aspect of life.
Right.
But you know, you get to a point where you kind of have to do it and I've always been a social person, so it was very hard for me to like not do that. So like, but I feel like everyone that I've met so far, including you guys and Soph and X, everyone's been great. And it's been nice.
Yeah, it's love, man. It's love, man. Even since we met you, it's like it's all good, great energy, bro. Like, you know, genuine person right here. Umair, man, it's like. And stay tuned, because Umair, man, he's a pharmacist, but work is coming. You know what I'm saying? Just stay tuned. I'm not going to say much, you know what I'm saying? But work is coming, you know?
Oh, yeah. This is not the last you've seen of Umair.
Yeah, this is not the last you're going to see of Umair. Speaking of the COVID phase, you know, how is that with, like, y'all pharmacists? And
that is something. So, like, I told you, right, I came right before COVID. COVID hits, and everyone is just like, what the heck is going on? Right? Like, mask, no mask.
Right.
Okay, masks, right? Mandated masks. And wearing that all the time in the hospital, obviously. But then that's when like the cases started going up and like people started getting sick.
Right.
People start coming into the hospital. Then it's like no joke. Then it's like, I'm telling family and friends, hey, this is no joke.
Stay safe.
You're seeing it.
I'm seeing death in front of me. And not only am I seeing it, like hearing it, but I'm actually having to go inside and trying to help save these patients.
Wow.
Like physically.
Right.
Like being in there and like seeing how sick they get. Like on a mechanical ventilator or life support. Like struggling to breathe. Like I saw it all, man. And you know, they had to make an executive decision to like have even myself go inside like the whole unit, because at one point these units were completely packed with these sick COVID patients, and it was overwhelming. Like the amount of dead bodies coming out was overwhelming. Wow. So like me being there, I'm only there trying to make a difference, trying to guide the team on making recommendations.
Right.
Actually, I have one story that actually kind of like got recognized by an organization, but I shared the story with them. So like there was one patient, like he was actually a patient who had cancer. So he was getting oral chemotherapy. Okay. And he was in the hospital, but he wasn't as sick. But eventually he got to the point where he got really sick and he had to come into the ICU.
Right.
So he's having like breathing problems.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, he's a cancer patient.
Yeah.
So he has an oncologist for that. So his oncologist wanted him to continue taking his oral cancer medication while he was still in the ICU.
Right.
So I looked into it. The reason why he was wanting him to take and continue taking his oral cancer drug was because it was also being studied to help treat COVID.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So when this happened, I was on top of that, because there was a point where this patient, he actually got so sick, they had to put him on life support. So like when you put a patient on life support, they had to put a feeding tube down his throat and a breathing tube down his throat. So inside the breathing tube, you have the feeding tube. and that's where the medications go because it was an oral medication.
Yeah.
So how is he going to take it?
Exactly.
So, and I had to look into this because I was like, I need to make sure like you can still give this medication because you can't just orally give anything.
Yeah.
Because every drug has its own properties, right? Like you can't just crush, dissolve, or open up a capsule for any medication. Medications have their own properties where you can't mess with because it'll mess with the way the drug is absorbed in the body. So I looked into this drug, this particular drug that he was taking, and found that you can actually open it up, and then the nurse can actually put it down the feeding tube. So I was very proactive in making sure he got his drug. Eventually he died, but I felt good knowing that in the meantime he was still taking his medication. Could possibly benefit.
Because it could have turned out otherwise.
So I can imagine like how many different things, like scenarios like that. For example, you were like, there's always new things you're discovering, I'm sure, on the job, looking into things. Oh, wow, this can benefit in this way with this medication.
Because you don't understand, and I don't think the public understands, the treatment for COVID. It was not easy to figure out. I mean, you heard crazy things like hydroxychloroquine and you hear ivermectin, things of that nature. But like, like figuring out like what works takes time. Like it's not a joke. Like you can't just like randomly give something to somebody.
Right.
Yeah. You have to study it, make sure it works, and then you execute it.
What is ivermectin? My bad. What is that? I mean, I've heard. What is it?
So I mean, it kills it kills parasites. In your intestines.
That's right. I remember now.
So yeah, so it was something that kind of came up, and like.
But does it work in any way?
I mean, it's been studied. It's been studied. It has. Yeah. But it's not like it's not something that you can fully recommend. It's a weak level recommending something for someone to try to take. It's not a strong recommendation.
Okay.
Unlike other things that are out there, other medications that you would take if you're admitted into the hospital. But nowadays there's more agents now that are being studied and have been okayed to take, even if you're not in the hospital. But like just that whole process, it takes time. Like you have to have like the evidence behind it. So like all of this took like time to kind of figure out. So me being a part of this, like I got to kind of see it,
see the process,
and advocate it for it, and make sure patients were taking the right medications.
Right.
Through the process, like
it was very stressful, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, how do you stay sane?
At one point, I was in the beginning. I kid you not. Like I was a little scared.
Of course, I can only imagine, bro.
I was coming back home to family, seeing family,
right.
Like my wife or like my in-laws. Like, like I started worrying more about them. Not me, but like them.
Yeah, because like the elderly and stuff like that. Of course.
So it's like like doing everything you can. Like, changing clothes. Like I would come home, I would wear like scrubs. Like my blue outfit, and make sure not to wear it inside the house, and then like change it to something else, and then take a shower, and then go down to everyone, and then still stay like at a distance.
It was so much work, man.
It was crazy.
It was so
every day. And by the way, I had to go into work. Like I couldn't work remote.
Yeah.
We tried to explore with that, but like it didn't. I realized this myself, that me going in, I was making more of a difference going in. Like physically being there. I was able to make more of a difference on my patients. So like I had to go in physically, and I didn't mind it because I was like, at least I'm going in. I felt safe in the hospital. Like I did feel safe there. Sometimes you'd feel unsafe outside the hospital, right? Because everyone takes it more seriously in the hospital.
In the hospital, But
that's just how it is.
You got the proper equipment to protect all that.
I had everything, like wearing like, and then going into these rooms where patients have COVID, you don't wear just a simple mask, right? Like you wear a respirator. It's called like an N95 mask.
Yeah, N95. I heard about those. Yeah.
It ends up being more like difficult to breathe when you wear that, and you would have to wear it for long periods of time. So like, everything becomes a struggle. Even like talking. Like, like a dry mouth. Like you want to drink more water when you're wearing stuff like that. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's definitely a different experience.
Yeah.
From then though, like, from the beginning of the whole thing.
Definitely got used to it.
Yeah.
Became more comfortable with it.
Right. Over time,
time passed, and then you realize this is going to be around for a while. Then there were ups and downs. There's waves, right? Yeah. First wave, second wave, third wave. I realized this is not going away, so we got to do what we can.
Mm-hmm.
Get vaccinated. People, whether they like it or they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it firsthand. More patients end up in the hospital that actually didn't get vaccinated. Patients that end up getting most sick are patients that didn't get vaccinated. So the facts are there. People can say whatever they want.
I think there's enough time now since the beginning. Anything. I mean, everything seemed like it was facts, right? No matter what was said at the beginning, because everything was new. Nobody.
No, but then proving things wrong, and sometimes you have to. You can make changes to things, like realize, oh wait, this doesn't work as well. Let's stretch this, try something else.
It's like
it's kind of like trial and error. Like you have to, you literally have to go through trial and error.
Yeah,
and get what works.
Yeah,
use what works.
Right.
Yeah. It's all about evidence.
Are the hospitals still like? I know since you work there, is it better? Like, I mean, obviously it's a little better, but
much better. But I'll tell you right now, there's a little bit of a jump in cases. So just be aware.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can only do so much. But and hopefully I'm hoping, it stays down. More people get vaccinated, the better. They already told people to take another booster, like people that are
I heard about that
65 and people that are like immunocompromised, like these patients.
What's up with that Johnson & Johnson booster? Why is there word out that
do they have a booster? I thought it was just one shot.
They
You're good for life.
And then there was someone on CNN about it being like very deadly or something.
I mean, I recall something about reading about that. I didn't pay attention to it too much because I realized you're gonna have to get boosted anyways.
Yeah.
You can't just have one shot and be done with.
Yeah,
of course.
You have to.
So you definitely recommend the other ones.
I mean, the other ones, I got like Moderna. Yeah, but other people got Pfizer. And stuff. And, I don't think the Johnson & Johnson by itself is enough. Like you still need to get boosted. You need to get boosted with the other ones as well.
Right.
And who knows how long and. We'll need to continue.
I remember there were like certain groups. Remember we were talking before we started the show. Remember I was talking about the stuff with Lupe and how he was educating people. Yeah. So like there were certain groups that were like anti-vax, right? Yeah. But they just said that they're not fully anti-vax. They just don't want to take anything from America and their allies as far as pharmaceuticals or vaccines. They're waiting on other countries. I didn't know this at the time, but I realized, there's other countries, like they said Cuba, they're waiting on the Cuban vaccine, they're waiting on the Russian vaccine. So I heard those things. Is there like a lot of countries have their, I know they have their own scientists and stuff. Is that the case?
They do. I mean, they do. They have their own vaccines. It's kind of like a competition, but I mean, I don't really.
Are they any better?
I mean,
they ain't FDA approved.
I mean, to each their own. I mean, if people want to make up stories, I'm not going to entertain that too much.
No, I mean,
it's funny. Like if they think vaccines from Russia will be better than the ones in the States, because maybe I guess the States are kind of trying to infuse something else with the vaccine, like a radar detector or something. I've heard all those conspiracy stories. Those are crazy stories too, by the way, because they can definitely mess with you.
You know anyone that took the Cuban vaccine?
No.
Really? Yeah, me neither. I was wondering.
Oh man,
I remember hearing actually Louis Farrakhan.
For it. Oh no!
Right? I thought you would. I remember watching something. Louis Farrakhan. He was speaking about actually. Now that I remember, he was speaking about the Cuban vaccine. Actually, like
what is it, like salt water?
Hey, that's messed up. They got some. Like, come on, bro. This guy.
Oh man.
No, but he spoke about that, like how there's like groups that are anti-America. There's a deep-rooted history with America and what they've done to people.
I get that thought process.
Yeah.
And I don't think if they want to, they could. If they're able to get their hands on it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you have to go to Cuba, or they send it out here.
Right,
but. That's interesting, though.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like you said, to each their own, man. It's like every country has its own, what's it called? And I guess here it's worked. I'm not going to lie. We talked about this before. I'm not going to go back onto vaccines. And Go watch episode 2. I think. Yeah. You'll see when I talked about the vaccine. But coming down to Ramadan, bro. We're in the holy month. Shout out, what I'm saying, all the barakah and zakat and ajr we can get in this month.
Yeah.
And that does have a lot to play with, like health too, in terms of people who do take medicine or people who do are on like a daily routine.
For sure.
So what is some like advice or something you can? Or what's the main issue in Ramadan with people think? I know obviously in the deen, in our religion, it's like it's not mandatory under those circumstances. I have my grandmother now. She's above age. I don't even need to say the age, but it's old. Yeah. And and in general, she usually she's getting older and there's problems, back problems, and what's it called and whatnot. So it's like she doesn't fast and whatnot. But usually there's people like. They're not that old, but they're on like, let's say, insulins or, whether it is, diabetes or, high blood pressure. Or
yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of, and the same thing, the article you wrote, mashallah, on the article, by the way, it was a good article you wrote. I mean, you could share with the people exactly.
Yeah, let them share what exactly.
It was about getting ready for Ramadan if you're a diabetic. So.
Yeah, so I did write this article with a couple colleagues about Ramadan and diabetes.
Yeah.
Dealing with diabetes during like the month of fasting.
Yeah. Right.
Like let's face it, like, people want to fast.
Yeah.
Even though technically, our religion doesn't require fasting if you have like chronic conditions.
Exactly.
Diabetes is one of them. But it's difficult sometimes for people to just refrain from fasting.
Yeah.
They still want to fast, right?
It's kind of you feel left out, right? Right, in a way, it's like everyone around you is fasting. It's like, am I the only one? Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's facts for sure.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so what can we do to help these people out, right? Yeah. Like, how can we help these people like take medications and fast?
Yeah.
They are capable and willing to fast, right? And they have the energy and the willpower to do so, but they have to be smart about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't blindly fast
and
forget about not monitoring your blood pressure or your blood sugar, right? Like, you have to keep an eye on those things, because like, what if you drop your blood pressure or your blood pressure becomes really high, or your blood sugar drops or it becomes really high? Like, those are all like major problems,
right?
That could cause serious issues where you end up in the hospital. And I've seen it. I've seen like people like ending up having extremely elevated levels of blood sugar.
Yeah.
And they end up in the hospital because what are they doing? They're indulging in the iftar or the breaking of the fast.
I see what you're saying.
And they eat way too many carbohydrates and sugars, and they just, their bodies can't take it.
Right.
So it's like, you have to be smart about it too. Like, so that will encompass like eating a healthier diet, like not just eating carbs, right? Like, try to have a balanced diet. And then, like in the article, and, feel free to share that article.
Yeah, we will. It will be in the description.
It will benefit other people too.
Yeah,
but like,
sure.
I go on and, we go on and talk about like how people can take their actual medications. And we're focusing on diabetes,
right?
But like, this can apply to patients with like high blood pressure too.
Yeah.
Like, when to take your medications, like at what time of the day. Like, we have suhoor, or when we actually wake up in the morning to eat. Then we have that time to break the fast.
Iftar. Yeah.
So those times end up being ideal to take medications. If you need to take insulin, you take insulin then too.
Right.
But then also with insulin, you kind of have to go a step further by actually reducing the amount
of insulin
in general, because you may be at risk of having lower blood sugar.
I see what you're saying.
And so the other thing was also monitoring your blood sugar more frequently. So there's something mentioned in the article where we mentioned maybe even checking it like 7 times in a day, because checking it more often might be more benefit for you and keep you away from harm. If you're more frequent about checking it. So like, for example, checking it at the suhoor time in the morning, and then checking it maybe a few hours later, and checking it again in the afternoon, and then checking it again at the breaking of the fast, and then 2 hours after breaking the fast.
So stay consistent with it in a way.
Yeah, and then once more maybe around bedtime, or then anytime else if you're feeling kind of funny. You feel like you don't feel like yourself, just check your blood sugar, right? And then sometimes there's this misconception where people may think if you check your blood sugar, or even, and this applies to everything, any kind of blood test,
right?
You need to get any kind of blood drawn for a lab or something, like you can't do it because you're fasting. But you can, though. You can get your blood drawn. So it's permissible. Even while you're fasting to do that. So like just kind of education
some people,
about these pointers. I felt like sharing it and
those are important, because some people, like you said, they might be living off the idea that it isn't, it's not okay.
And then just real quick, like in that article, there's specific medications mentioned. So like people can use that as a reference if they're taking a certain medication, because there's so many medications.
There is.
So like definitely use that as a reference.
I will definitely be in the description. Definitely check out Umair's article on. It's not just diabetes. It's it's mostly diabetes.
That article is diabetes.
Diabetes.
You can,
with Ramadan.
You can apply that.
You can apply that concept to other medications.
Other medications, exactly.
But now, I mean, you're a pharmacist, bro. Your specialty is medicine, right?
So I'm supposed to be the drug expert, by the way.
Yeah, the drug expert. The plug. He's the plug. No, I'm kidding.
He is the plug. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, never mind. You know what? Not gonna.
I know people ask you. I'm sure you have family members, and people ask you about herbal or natural remedies, herbal medicines and stuff.
Man.
The holistic wave. I've been kind of on that, but at the same time, I know there's benefits for that and pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. But what are your suggestions, or what would you say are the do's and don'ts for herbal medicines? Because I know a lot of people say, man, forget the medicine, forget the pharmacy stuff.
Right.
Just stay natural only. That's all you need. So like, what are the do's and don'ts of that? Because what are the do's and don'ts?
I mean, great question.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have fun answering this.
My man, let's do this.
He's ready. He's ready.
So, I mean, let me tell you this.
Okay.
So, you have herbal supplements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have. So, let me lay this out first.
Yeah.
You have herbal supplements. You have over-the-counter medications, and then you have prescription medications. Right. So, like your Pepsid is an over-the-counter medication.
Okay, I need to ask you about that too.
You can buy it without a prescription.
Yeah, that is over-the-counter. Yeah.
And then there's medications that are prescription only, that are like prescribed by a doctor, and then there's herbal supplements that you can just buy.
Yeah.
Right? And you can buy anything you want, like you said, right? So here's the thing, that it would be best if people knew how dangerous herbal supplements can actually be if they don't know what they're taking, because they can end up being or causing more harm
to themselves.
Yeah.
So the reason for this is because, and I've looked into this, but like you can actually end up causing serious liver damage because you end up taking supplements and you don't know what you're taking, or you do know what you're taking, but you really don't know the actual adverse effects of what you're taking over time.
Yeah.
And how like it can really mess up your liver or really mess up your kidneys.
Right.
And then let's throw in some prescription medications that you're taking. So let's just say you're taking like a blood thinner. Say you have like a blood clot and you have to take a blood thinner medication, and you're now taking that medication with an herbal supplement. Let's just say there's this herbal supplement you're taking. Let's throw this out there. Let's say you're taking St. John's wort. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
So
what is it exactly though?
So this is something people take for depression.
Okay.
Like people can take it.
I definitely thought something else, so I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the seriousness of this issue. It's a serious drug interaction. So basically, the St. John's wort, if you are taking that, and if you're taking a blood thinner
together,
right? What that interaction is that the St. John's wort will actually prevent the blood thinner from working properly. So instead of protecting you from getting a blood clot,
may make it worse.
you're going to get more blood clots.
Wow.
or you end up dying because you get a blood clot and it ends up traveling to your brain or your head or your
what's
heart,
it called?
and you're gonna die.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And that applies to other medications of all different sorts.
Even certain foods, right?
Like even certain foods. Yes,
I was told about that though. The blood thinner. Some people that have blood clots. I was told that their doctor told them to stay away from greens, and I was like, wow, really?
Excellent. Man, he's on a roll.
Yeah, you should be joining him at John Hopkins, bro.
I'm about to become a pharmacist, bro.
Look, he came prepared.
He set me up.
I'm trying to tell you.
Excellent question.
Yeah.
So, like, this is how I counsel the patients about that. So, for this, we're not going to tell patients to not take foods that have green leafy vegetables or made out of green leafy vegetables. Right. Any kind of because it's all nutritious.
Yeah.
Right. So we're not going to tell people not to eat those foods. We're actually going to tell people to kind of modify their diets in terms of maybe eating in moderation. And with blood thinners, there's a certain blood thinner called like warfarin. That's dosed very cautiously, and patients usually have to go to a clinic and have that monitored very frequently.
Yeah.
So when that's being monitored, like you have to. And here's the thing. This is what I want to elaborate on. You have to make it a habit to let your pharmacist, your doctor, whenever you go to a clinic of any sort, know all the medications you're taking. Yeah. And that includes over-the-counter. That includes herbal
stuff,
supplements, and prescription.
You have to
medications.
mention.
You have to specifically mention, because we'll never know. And if we never know,
and we give you something that
could cause another interaction.
Yeah.
Then that's
then how can that be?
You know what's funny? Actually, it's a side note. We'll continue after, but it's funny because like there's people that say, I'm gonna mention the vaccines one more time. Last time. But
you sure?
People say like there's a disclaimer. no. I was just trying to like give like an example, right? It's the first example I can think of.
It's your podcast, bro.
No. So like, chill out.
Hey, they have to.
I'm saying because like people that were like, say for example, against it, right? They say, oh, at the end or at the back, it's like a disclaimer, like in case something else happens, like they're not liable, or something, right? That was an argument. But then also with the natural stuff, people that sell those stuff, which I wholeheartedly like, I use natural like herbal stuff and everything, but there's also a disclaimer.
They say the same thing
at the end of their products. It's the same thing, like a disclaimer, like saying they're not liable for anything. Exactly what he's saying, it could counter other things, and that's
so. Let me tell you that. No, let me tell you that. I'm glad you brought this up. This is for another reason, and this is because the FDA will not allow them to say that.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Because these supplements, they're not FDA approved.
Okay.
They've been FDA approved in a sense for manufacturing purposes. Okay. Like they're not like, laced or mixed with anything.
Right.
Like the quality of the product is there.
It's good. Yeah.
That's what they're okay for. But like actual use,
that's the difference.
And like the evidence behind it, that cannot be stated on the bottle. So they have to state that disclosure. This applies to everything. By every supplement, you'll see that on them.
Okay.
So like, that's why I can't stress enough to anyone to do your own research. And I can actually provide a couple links.
Yeah, please do.
Please do.
Through NIH.
Okay.
NIH, National Institutes of Health, which is a government-funded organization of part of our country.
Right.
Like, they have their own websites.
Yeah.
And they will provide information that is not fake information, not biased in any way. It's legit information that any one of us can use and you can share with, and you could read about and kind of figure out, okay, would this benefit me?
Okay.
Do I have to actually be careful with this? Who shouldn't take it? Who should? Things of that nature.
Right.
And then also still checking with your provider, whether it's a doctor or a pharmacist, to make sure if you're coming to a point to taking this type of supplement, is this okay to take with certain medications that you're taking?
Yeah. Right.
We're young. I'm hoping, we're all healthy, and I'm hoping we stay healthy. But there's people that take medications even at a younger age, and if they're taking prescription medications mixed with herbal supplements, like that's putting them in danger.
Right.
For like serious like bodily organ damage. And so like you have to be aware of that. And that's my do's and don'ts. Do's, do your research. Don't blindly just take something out of popularity.
Right. Just because it's natural doesn't mean there's no side effects.
Just because it's natural doesn't mean anything. Actually.
Yeah. Exactly. There's a lot of things I've learned that too. Like people stay away from certain foods because they have certain, I don't know, like certain
allergies.
No, things they were born with maybe, and certain foods are not good for them. So all our bodies are different.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's like it's a balance.
And it's good to learn these things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's like as much as we take, like even today when I told you earlier, I got Pepsi. So my family. Like I told you this before, but my family in general, I said it before in this probably podcast episode 2, something like that. But we got bad stomachs, man. I use these over the counter.
Oh, that's what that's for. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Man, I got acid reflux, and when it's just like it's on top of everything, it's just learning how to like maintain something like that, or even like maybe it's genes related things that happen.
Genetics.
Yeah. So basically, in general, even like you said, that link you're going to share with us for us to go and what's it called? It's in terms of us even knowing, knowing different things and learning more. I mean, I remember even back in my country, it got times where it's like, we started believing that 7-Up just heals your stomach aches. They'd be like, "Oh, your stomach hurts. Go grab a 7-Up from what's it called?"
That should be in the pharmacy section, by the way,
bro. That's you know how many 7-Ups I drank just because of my stomach. So it's like even these little cultural things they do. I don't know their names. Like I know them in Arabic. But it's like, for the stomach, we have
remedy of
remedy, sort, Sudanese remedy or whatever. And it's like specific things that work for whether it's stomach, whether it's headache, whether it's that, whether it's this. So it's like, even these cultural things, they might work temporarily, but like we also have to study some things of our own.
Of course.
For ourselves.
But you got to understand, like, we have those certain, like we say, natural remedies, like,
So they
it's like they didn't have they didn't have the stuff though that let's say certain pharmaceuticals because of the country they're in or something.
They come from a background
that access. Access is important too. Sometimes there's a lot of things.
And then quality issues too, like in other countries, like you're dealing with that too. So, like like when you use medications. Like I feel like we should be thankful we're in America.
Right.
We don't have to worry about like the quality of the product that we take.
Alhamdulillah for that.
It's FDA approved. Like medications.
Right.
Realize
they go through this rigorous protocol and quality assurance, structure. But like in countries like I can speak for like Pakistan or like India, maybe even Sudan. Like
same here. I can speak for my country. We don't.
I'm sure like there's a little bit of.
There's a value in the human life, bro. That's what it is. It's like back home, it's may Allah, you know what I'm saying, with the barakah of Ramadan, just put our countries on. I got
at home for you.
Oh, say less.
Hey, that's it.
I was expecting to,
all you need is
get some
sips.
today. You know what I'm saying?
All you need is 3 sips. But with medicine though, like I know you're probably looking at this stuff for like 10 years from now. 20 years from now in the future with medicine and natural stuff, or whatever the case may be. But with the future of medicine, though, like how can they be like personalized per each individual? Because we're all different. We have certain things like you mentioned with genetics and stuff. How can that be personalized for everyone? And can they reverse certain things that's in their bloodline and stuff? But if you get my question, like, how is it?
You asking all the right questions.
Yeah. Hey.
I'm trying to get some information.
This guy right here.
Bro. Okay. So I'm
seems like he got an inside man or something.
Share some knowledge with you guys. So the future of medicine is preventing conditions and problems from happening in the first place.
Okay.
So if we use our genes, or our genetic makeup or DNA, like if that can be tested in a way where we can figure out and anticipate, this person may end up getting cancer or a heart attack or develop diabetes, then you can take certain steps beforehand from actually any of that happening. Wow. So that's one area. The other area is, how everyone takes medications, right? but everyone's kind of taking the medications hoping that it's helping to treat a problem, right? But like our bodies are all made differently. So our bodies can either respond to certain medications, meaning the medication will work, or it won't work, or actually work a bit too much and maybe cause more kind of harm. So like there's testing available, and it's called pharmacogenomics, and this is something out of the box, basically. So this is gonna be hot. I'm telling you now. Like this is gonna be something where you go into your medical office, you get tested. They'll tell you, "Hey, this medication that you're taking, it's not working for you. We're gonna switch it to something else because your body is not responding to it." Or they're gonna tell you, "Hey, this medication is actually causing more harm than good, so we're gonna switch that as well." Now think about this. Think about patients. We're young, but I'm talking about patients that are older, more, frail. If you have patients in that category trying to take these medications, that harm, that benefit not being provided, that's going to either cause death, that's going to cause other problems to happen, like, for example, falling down. How many old people fall down on the ground? This is very common for old people to fall. Like they fall because they get dizzy, or their blood pressure drops. Like these are very common things to happen. So like if we can kind of like prevent that from happening, then why not? And like just by changing the medication based on how their body is made up of from their DNA. So like this is the future.
So like can you before we move on, but go ahead. I'll keep going. My man, it's not time to break fast, is it? It might be, but I want to know, like, so like with diabetes and stuff, is it all reversible? Like, for type 1 and type 2, are those the only form of diabetes, right? Okay. I just want to make sure. So are those reversible with, like, let's say your diet? Because we learned with, like, last week with Sam, shout out to Sam, who's a nutritionist and trainer. So like balance with your diet is very important versus like even weight training or working out is important, but dieting is very, very important. And it's a balance and everything. But is it reversible, like diabetes and any other thing, like as far as like what you're born with?
I mean, so I'll tell you this, like people in general are living a lot longer, right? I don't know if you've noticed. Like, like older people are living longer than they used to live, even like 20 years ago. Like the population, I believe, of age 65 and above is exponentially growing. By 2030, it's going to continue to exponentially grow. That means people are living longer. The reason why they're living longer is because they're taking medications. Now, I'm not like promoting medications only. It's a combination of medication,
it's a balance.
Diet, and exercise. There are certain conditions that can be reversed, but certain conditions that once you get them, you can't really reverse them. You can probably manage them better by controlling your diet. I mean, that's a huge part of it. Diabetes is interesting because once you get diabetes or you're on the border of diabetes, you can somewhat reverse it. Lifestyle, diet changes, it can.
Because I've heard stories though of that too. People reversing it. Or even like for like mothers that give birth and then they end up having it, and they end up getting it, and that's like interesting. I don't like
that's gestational diabetes, which is like a different type, but like it happens, and then that can go away too afterwards. But sometimes like it can. I mean, so it's like it's all about like, like I believe like diet and exercise for sure is a huge factor.
It's a huge factor.
Definitely for diabetes for sure. I mean, even like with high blood pressure. I mean, if you reduce your sodium intake. I mean, obviously that's one big change right there. Diet, huge. I mean, how much of our foods have like sodium in it, and other harmful things, like I've
learned that like my dad's doctor gave him a list of foods to eat, like to avoid like the pre-diabetes stage. Get some foods to avoid or foods to take or eat with your diet, definitely to make that balance process. So That makes a lot of sense, though. Yeah.
Man,
all right, let's break fast. Hold on.
Yeah, hold up. Listen.
I guess a part of being like a healthcare provider is sharing the knowledge.
Right.
We appreciate you for that for sure.
But you gotta share the information. I mean, it's not like I can keep it all in and keep it to myself.
Right.
Of course.
Like you gotta kind of educate the public. You gotta educate your family, your friends.
Yeah.
Just share it. You know, like give back to the community.
Yeah.
I do that actually. Like I give back to like the pharmacists in Pakistan.
MashaAllah.
Like I teach them like lectures and stuff.
Oh, that's good. That's good, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Plus, if not us, then who? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, alhamdulillah, God gave us this opportunity to be out and, study abroad or wherever it may be. And, you know what I'm saying? If we don't go back and help out our own people that we were talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of...
second rule.
Speaking of...
second rule. You got time?
Speaking of Ramadan...
Yeah.
Bro, when I lived in Saudi...
Yeah.
And having Ramadan in Saudi and working...
You just having Ramadan in Saudi?
Yeah. Like experiencing Ramadan in Saudi. 6-hour work days. 10 to 4.
Oh, yeah. They work with... It's more... They make it easier. Man. That's what's up.
That's how it should be here.
That's how it should be here. Over here, used to have to like convince our managers to let us get off or eat or something, bro. Like what? Let alone Ramadan.
Yeah, you got to use your only week vacation you ever get. Just
right.
Yeah, literally.
I thought they were gonna make Eid
a national holiday. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they did that already with like certain states. I think New York did that or something. Because I know schools. I feel like schools or public schools are closed on Eid or something. I've heard that years ago. They were working on that.
I thought Virginia was next. No.
Hopefully, we'll figure it out.
Didn't hear that.
Man, Umair, man, it's been a pleasure, bro. We don't want to hold you any longer. We want to make sure we go get some real food. We appreciate you. Out of all our guests, bro, this is the one person that stayed until iftar time. He didn't mind, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, we did do a little late too.
Yeah, we did start late, but it's like he still, you know what I'm saying, offered to stay, even though iftar time is all about that grubbing, which is what we're about to go do next. But man, it's a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
I felt comfortable to be here.
Yeah, man, appreciate you. Of course, man. It's a brotherhood, man. Yeah, sure. And this is, like I said before, this is not the last of Umair. Definitely you're gonna be seeing him more often, especially with Halal Wrist. Things not gonna speak too much, but we're gonna get there, and it's definitely a pleasure. I hope you get a great meal today. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get up out of here and talk about what we about to do. My name is LT. And this is
awesome.
And we have guest
Umair,
and this is the Halal Wrist podcast. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Listen to him.
Peace out.
You want to start it off this time?
Shout out Sophian real quick. You know what I'm saying? But when the prayers go up,
we can say it together. The blessings come down.